Hey, what's going on? Jake here with Uncommon EDC, and today we're checking out the Rickshaw Bags GP1. And we've checked out the mini GP1 on the channel before, so this is the full-size version of that pouch. And they advertise this as a plush EDC gear pouch. And that's one of the things I really like about Rickshaw bags. They're not just made to carry your gear, but actually protect the gear that's inside. So they have a couple features that really lend themselves well to keeping everything inside safe, secure, and damage-free, hopefully. And we'll touch on those as we get to them. But one of the other things I like, these are available in over 20 colors and patterns, so tons of selection, mostly just different colors, but a couple different patterns as well. And each of those is a EPX material, I believe, for the solid colors. I don't know about the patterns, but EPX is similar to X-Pack in that it's a polyester based on sailcloth material that's UV resistant, waterproof. Now the pouch itself isn't going to be waterproof because you can see there's like the nylon around the zippers. I believe that's nylon anyway, around the zippers, but you probably don't want to submerge it because of that, but should be storm-proof or weatherproof at least. You can take this out, especially if it's in a bag and it's not, the contents aren't going to get wet if you're just in a storm. But again, would not recommend submerging it. Now, last thing I really like about these is these are made in the USA, but they're also made to order. And so what that means is, we have all these popular pouch companies that are constantly sold out and you gotta be there at the drop to get them. That's never gonna happen with these. These are never gonna be sold out because they don't make them until you order it. And so yes, that adds a day or two to the delivery time, or a couple days in some cases. For me, it hasn't been significant. I'll usually have these in less than a week and a half after ordering. And so it hasn't been significant. Now I am in the same state as them, so that might be leading to a little bit faster delivery time, but not positive. I couldn't imagine it adds more than a day or two if you're in the States. And so all that said, let's get into the pouch itself. Now it does have YKK zippers. This front one is a number 5. The main one is a number 8. They do come with these little pulls on them, but you can easily just untie these and replace them with whatever you want, or not replace them at all. And so we'll start with this main front pocket, and I don't usually use front pockets, to be honest, because a lot of times when you load out the rest of the pouch, they become too tight to really be super usable spaces. They are good for small flat items though, and so I did want to throw something in there. Now with that said, this one is a little bit looser. You have a little bit of extra material, so you can get your fingers in there, no problem, but still don't end up utilizing it a ton. Now the only thing I put in there was a coin from Wii. This is from their Blade Show booth. On the front it says buy the knife, and when you flip it around it says flip again. And so just thought this was kind of a fun coin that I picked up, and always encourages you to buy a new knife, which I don't need any extra encouragement, but appreciate it. And so flipping over to the back, that's all that's really going on the front. Flipping over to the back, we have this Velcro panel that's pretty generous, and I do have a bunch of patches, NotoriousEDC, JRW Gear, Protech, and 2 from Data Crew. But if you aren't into patches, this Velcro panel is the really soft and supple type that doesn't grab on to every material it touches. Sometimes you get those ones that are really hooky and they grab onto almost everything. If you're wearing like a hoodie, it'll grab onto the drawstrings. If you're wearing something knit especially, it'll just tear them apart. And so they grab onto everything. This really only grabs onto patches, which is appreciated. Also doesn't leave behind those little flakes of loop that sometimes fall off of other Velcro panels. So like that super soft Velcro here. Up top, we have this ring that you can use to attach some keys or a lanyard to. Don't really utilize that, but it's there if you want it. And a slip pocket that looks like it would be, part of the Velcro, but it actually goes all the way down to the bottom. Now, this is really made for putting, whatever you're writing in, a notebook or paper, that sort of thing. It's small flat objects again. Doesn't seal up, but it won't accommodate a field notes or log and jotter. It's looking for paper that's about 3 inches wide. You can squeeze something a little bit wider in there, but it's a pretty tight fit. And so what I have back there, and one of the items I actually recommend that does go past this Velcro, it goes down all the way to the bottom, is a 3.5 by, or no, I keep saying 3.5, 3-inch by 5-inch index card. So this is a little bit slimmer than that 3.5-inch wide field notes or log and jotter. And so these fit in there perfectly. And I have a small stack of them, probably 5 or 6 of them, not a ton, but I really like these. This is kind of more disposable type papers because I don't really like tearing pages out of my log and jotter. I keep notes that are more permanent notes in there, things that I want to remember or keep for myself. But if you're giving the paper away after, you wrote down your email or phone number or random notes, you can put it on here without worrying about tearing out your extra pages. So I really like that. I've been digging index cards lately. In fact, if you've gotten anything in the mail from me, you probably got a note on the index card recently. And so that's everything on the outside. I think I already mentioned zippers, number 5, number 8, YKK, yes I did. And so it is a full clamshell opening. We'll get this open and you'll see some of that DNA of Rickshaw bags. So they started out as writing instrument and accessory type things. And so some of those pockets are definitely really geared towards writing instruments. So we have 3 on the left-hand side that are 1.2 inches wide each, and then some shorter ones on the right-hand side that are about 1.8 inches wide. And so these are more meant for the gear, these are more meant for your pen and pencils and stuff like that, but there's definitely types of EDC gear that it can accommodate. Now, load this out with some sample gear, as I always do, starting with the Everyman Grafton. And this is their full-size pen in blue, so nothing crazy going on there. But you can see it can fit full-size pens up to about 6 inches long. Also went with one of their mechanical pencils as well. And so it's basically the same dimensions, just a pencil. And so really, really great for that type of thing. But I did want to put at least one piece of gear that wasn't a pen or pencil, although this will fit like bit drivers and stuff like that pretty well as well, pen lights, so it doesn't have to be pens, that's just what I put in there. But on the last one, I did put the Nice Guy Machine Company Mr. Nice Bar. So this is a straight up pry bar cap lifter, and that's really about it. But I chose this one specifically because it has a nice straight edge, so you can use it for drawing lines and stuff like that. Has a pocket clip and lanyard hole, not using the lanyard hole, but USA made titanium pry bar, fits in there no problem whatsoever, and sticks out just enough that it's really easy to grab it. We'll get into the material behind there in just a moment. 1.8 inches on the width of these 2 pockets, and you can see this fits some wider gear. You can put small multi-tools, larger knives, anything really that's under 1.8 inches, and it can accommodate some pretty tall items. Now it's only going about half the height of the overall pouch, but I like that because it makes these shorter gear easier to access. If you don't have a pocket clip, it's not going to get lost in there. So on the left hand side, I wanted to put a larger knife. So this is the Remington Granddaddy Barlow, just a nice oversized knife. You can see it sticks out both ends of my fist there. So pretty large knife overall, pretty thick, has these nice shiny bolsters that I want to keep protected, which is what makes this pouch really great for that. And so one last item before we get into that, and this is the Victorinox Pioneer X. I wanted to choose something a little bit thicker, so this one has 3 springs and then those A-lock scales, so a decently thick little Swiss Army knife, and really just wanted to show that it can accommodate thicker items as well. You probably could have gotten a 4-spring in there as well, and it's plenty of room for both of these to move around and plenty of real estate up top to accommodate them. Now, one thing I do want to note, with this Granddaddy Barlow, I obviously don't want the bolster getting super scratched up, and so the item across from there may hit it. And so they kind of line up with the center, so it shouldn't be too much of an effect, but I did purposely put it across from the pry bar because there's no pocket clip in the way of getting that all scratched up. But if you look closely as I close this, that Victorinox lands right in between the 2 pens, so it's not hitting the pocket clips either. So it's also a little bit shorter, but I think it could have hit the top or the bottom of that pocket clip. So just something worth noting. Now, mention that this is really made to protect your gear. Hopefully this is picking up, but this back is what they just call a plush interior liner, but it's super soft and just really satisfying to touch, but also not going to scratch anything that gets in there. It's this really, really soft material, hard to describe. I don't have other synonyms for soft, but you get the point. Hopefully that's picking up. Feels like one of those soft blankets you might get. Now, behind each of these soft plush liners is a 1/16 inch padded insert, and so hopefully we'll keep anything from really doing too much damage. Now, it's still cloth at the end of the day, so don't expect these things to be, survive a car accident. But if you just drop it on the ground or something like that, the gear inside should be nice and protected with no issues. And so really like this for that kind of thing. Now, this is made as an EDC pouch and advertised as an EDC pouch, even though that's not really their main core line of business. And it can definitely be used in that capacity, but really lends itself well to like a small admin pouch as well. If you want something like this for your work bag, maybe something that's not as high vis. I like this because it's easy to find in your bag, but it is a little bit obnoxiously colored. They definitely have more muted colors as well, but I like the high vis of it. But either way, that's about it for this pouch. I think it's really great made. One other thing I should mention, branding. This is the only branding, the small Rickshaw tag color matched to the interior of this. There's nothing on the outside, so it's not trying to scream, you know, go buy Rickshaw bags. It's just subtly branded, which I think is nice. I do want to see the branding on there, you know, obviously, just so if you forget where you got it, or also to give them credit if you want to show someone the spelling if they're asking about your pouch. But I do appreciate how subtle it is, so something worth noting. But that's really it for this video. Would love to hear your thoughts on this one down in the comments below. And as always, if you enjoyed the video, would love if you'd consider liking, subscribing, and hitting the notification button as well. I'll help out the channel a ton. And with that, I hope you have a great one. Take care.